Earthquakes. The very word evokes images of destruction, chaos, and fear. These powerful natural disasters remind us that we live on a dynamic planet constantly reshaping itself. Scientists are now sounding the alarm, warning that major earthquakes could be imminent in parts of America. Recent data and seismic activity have raised concerns about the potential for powerful tremors along major fault lines. From the West Coast to the Midwest, millions of Americans live in earthquake-prone areas. The question is not if, but when these seismic events will strike. The consequences of a major earthquake can be devastating: widespread building collapses, infrastructure damage, loss of life, and economic turmoil. Understanding the risks and taking appropriate preparedness measures is crucial for everyone, from individuals and families to entire communities. Are we ready for the big one? The answer might depend on how seriously we heed the warnings and prepare for the inevitable. To understand earthquakes, we need to delve beneath the Earth's surface. Imagine our planet as a giant jigsaw puzzle with massive pieces called tectonic plates constantly shifting and grinding against each other. The boundaries where these plates meet are known as fault lines. These fault lines are not smooth cracks. Instead, they are rough zones where immense pressure builds up over time as the plates move. When this pressure exceeds the strength of the rocks, it releases suddenly, causing the ground to shake violently. This is what we experience as an earthquake. The severity of an earthquake is determined by the amount of energy released, measured on the Richter scale. The higher the magnitude on the scale, the more powerful and destructive the earthquake. Even small tremors can cause damage, while major earthquakes can level cities and alter landscapes. Understanding fault lines and their behavior is essential for scientists to assess earthquake risks, predict potential events, and develop strategies to mitigate their impact. The Earth's tectonic plates are in constant motion, creating a dynamic and ever-changing planetary landscape. One of the most active and volatile regions is the Pacific Ring of Fire, a 25,000-mile horseshoe-shaped zone encircling the Pacific Ocean. This region is home to a staggering 75% of the world's volcanoes and 90% of its earthquakes. The Ring of Fire's intense seismic activity results from the interaction of multiple tectonic plates colliding, sliding past each other, and subducting, with one plate sliding under another. The western coast of the United States, including California, Oregon, and Washington, sits squarely within the Ring of Fire, making it particularly vulnerable to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The San Andreas Fault, the Cascadia subduction zone, and other fault systems in this region are a constant reminder of the powerful forces at play beneath our feet. Living on the Ring of Fire means accepting the reality of seismic activity and taking steps to prepare for the inevitable. Understanding the tectonic forces shaping our planet is the first step towards mitigating risks and building resilience against natural disasters. Section 4. The San Andreas Fault, a ticking time bomb. Perhaps the most infamous fault line in the United States, the San Andreas Fault slices through California for over 800 miles, marking the boundary between the Pacific and North American tectonic plates. This fault line is not just a geological feature, it is a symbol of the dynamic and ever-changing nature of our planet. This massive fault is responsible for some of the most powerful earthquakes in recorded history. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake, for instance, was a devastating event that reshaped the city and left a lasting impact on its residents. The San Andreas Fault is a strike-slip fault, meaning the plates move horizontally past each other. This horizontal movement is what makes the fault so dangerous, as it can lead to sudden and violent shifts in the Earth's crust. The Pacific Plate on the west side of the fault is moving northwestward relative to the North American plate, creating immense strain along the fault line. This strain builds up over time, and when it is released, it can result in powerful earthquakes. Scientists have long warned about the big one, a massive earthquake with a magnitude of 7.8 or greater, expected to occur along the San Andreas Fault. This hypothetical event has been the subject of numerous studies and simulations, all of which point to its potentially catastrophic impact. Such an event could have catastrophic consequences for major cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco, potentially causing widespread destruction, loss of life, and economic disruption. The infrastructure in these cities, while advanced, is not immune to the forces of nature. While predicting the exact timing of earthquakes remains a challenge, scientists are constantly monitoring the fault for signs of increased activity. Advances in technology have improved our ability to detect and analyze seismic activity, but the exact moment of rupture remains elusive. The San Andreas Fault is in a constant state of stress accumulation, making it a constant threat. This ongoing process is a reminder of the ever-present danger that looms over the region. Preparedness is not optional, but essential for those living in its shadow. Residents are encouraged to have emergency plans, supplies, and to stay informed about the latest safety guidelines. In a region where the ground beneath their feet could shift at any moment, being prepared can make all the difference. Section 5. Cascadia, the silent threat. While the San Andreas Fault often grabs headlines due to its frequent activity and proximity to major urban centers, another, potentially even more powerful seismic threat lurks off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, the Cascadia subduction zone. This 600-mile fault stretches from northern California to British Columbia, Canada, where the Juan de Fuca plate slides beneath the North American plate. This subduction process is a slow but relentless force, shaping the landscape over millennia. The Cascadia subduction zone is capable of producing megathrust earthquakes, the most powerful type of earthquake on Earth, with magnitudes exceeding 9.0. These colossal quakes release energy equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs, making them some of the most devastating natural events known to humanity. These events occur when the subducting plate gets stuck, building up immense pressure that is suddenly released, causing the ocean floor to uplift and triggering massive tsunamis. The sudden displacement of water can send waves racing across the ocean at jetliner speeds, impacting coastlines far and wide. Scientists have evidence that Cascadia has experienced massive earthquakes and tsunamis in the past, with the last major event occurring in 1700. Geological records such as sediment layers and tree rings provide a window into these ancient catastrophes. The recurrence interval for such events is estimated to be several hundred years, making the region overdue for another major seismic event. This looming threat has prompted extensive research and monitoring efforts to better understand and predict when the next big quake might strike. The potential impact of a Cascadia megathrust earthquake is staggering. Infrastructure, homes and lives could be devastated in an instant, with long-lasting effects on the region's economy and way of life. Coastal communities could be inundated by tsunamis, while major cities like Seattle and Portland could face widespread damage and disruption. The ripple effects of such a disaster would be felt across the entire Pacific Northwest and beyond. Raising awareness and improving preparedness are crucial for mitigating the risks posed by this silent but potent threat. Community drills, early warning systems, and robust building codes are just a few measures that can help save lives and reduce damage when the inevitable occurs. Section 6. New Madrid, shaking the heartland. While the West Coast often dominates discussions about earthquake risks in the United States, the central part of the country is not immune to seismic activity. In fact, the heartland of America has its own seismic story to tell. The New Madrid seismic zone, located in the Mississippi Valley region, has produced some of the largest earthquakes in North American history, despite being located far from any tectonic plate boundaries. This makes it a unique and intriguing area of study for seismologists. The New Madrid seismic zone is a complex system of ancient faults that reactivated millions of years ago. These faults have lain dormant for long periods, only to awaken with devastating force. Although not as active as the San Andreas Fault, it has produced several major earthquakes in the past, most notably a series of powerful tremors in 1811 to 1812 that were felt as far away as Boston. These quakes were so intense that they caused church bells to ring on the East Coast. These earthquakes caused widespread damage, altered the course of the Mississippi River, and created Reelfoot Lake in Tennessee. The landscape was forever changed, leaving a lasting mark on the region. While major earthquakes in the New Madrid seismic zone are less frequent than in California, they pose a significant risk to a vast area encompassing parts of 8 states. This includes densely populated areas and critical infrastructure. The potential impact of a major New Madrid earthquake today would be substantial, with the potential to damage critical infrastructure, disrupt transportation networks, and cause significant economic losses. The ripple effects of such an event would be felt across the nation. Preparedness and mitigation efforts are crucial for reducing the risks posed by this often overlooked seismic hazard. Communities must be educated, and emergency plans must be in place to ensure safety and resilience in the face of potential future quakes. Ongoing research and monitoring are essential to better understand the New Madrid seismic zone and to develop strategies to mitigate its impact. Scientists continue to study this region to unlock its secrets and protect those who live in its shadow. The story of the New Madrid seismic zone is a reminder of the power of nature and the importance of preparedness. By learning from the past and planning for the future, we can build a more resilient heartland.